Hello and welcome to the Legal Pause podcast. I'm Nick Gallagher, the CEO of the Solicitors Charity. The Legal Pause podcast is a series that explores key issues, challenges and opportunities that are shaping the solicitors profession and also the charities and partners supporting it behind the scenes. And each episode involves a conversation between me and an invited guest. In the first two episodes, I spoke with Elizabeth Rimmer of Law Care and Carla Hoppe of Wealthbright. And today I'm delighted to welcome my colleague, Anita McCallum, who is the Director of Impact and Development here at the Solicitors Charity. Now, Anita has a fantastically wide background. She said to me the other day that she's been in the workforce 40 years. I know the feeling, Anita. But during that time, she's run her own management consultancy, working with corporates such as Thomas Cook and Anglian Water. She's led reorganisations and change programmes in the NHS. She's been a non-executive director of an NHS acute trust, worked for Macmillan Cancer Support, and before she joined us, she was leading a homelessness charity. Now, Anita's been with us at the Solicitor Charity for just over 2 years and has moved from working with us on strategy to heading up our impact and development function. And I'm going to ask Anita to tell us a little bit about the work that she does and what impact and development at the Solicitors Charity includes.
Thanks for that introduction, Nick. It's quite a telling thought, isn't it? 40 years in the workforce, but hopefully lots of experience to bring. As you say, a very varied working life I've had in both the private and public sector. And I guess I do really love doing many different and varied things and wearing many different hats. And I think we're all blessed, but me in particular, that at the charity, I've had the opportunity to do just that. And the common thread, I think, throughout is having an empathy for and a wish to better understand people and engage with them in a way that's appealing and relevant to them. In this case, we're interested in what can encourage solicitors to contact us and make sure that they know about the range of things we can do to help. So I use my marketing and communications experience to help spread that word about the work we do. And it reminds people that we're here if they do need our support, and also lets firms and suppliers know that we are doing vital work in support of solicitors, should they be able to sort of donate money or unclaimed client balances to help us with our work. In terms of the development piece in my job title, just to say that the fundraising pedigree involves smaller scale income generation for that homeless charity that you just mentioned, but also an understanding of how perhaps a bigger charity, a national charity like Macmillan, gets donations through the door in a very consistent and sustainable way. How it's different to what we can do as a niche charity with a much smaller beneficiary base. And the difference is clearly we can't ask members of the public to donate money for the well-being of solicitors. We have to appeal to solicitors themselves and firms and suppliers in the sector directly for those fundraising requests. And just linking back to my experience in housing and addiction, you may not think, or people might not think it's relevant, but we do have people contacting the charity who have had quite dramatic life events occur and who have been made homeless, and people who do unfortunately have a range of addictions, and maybe they've fallen ill with a condition nobody could have predicted, like cancer or stroke, as well as those with perhaps more manageable temporary problems that we can help more straightforwardly. And it may be surprising to some listening, but solicitors aren't immune to the pressures of life, and they do reflect trends in the population as a whole. And as you know, the great thing is that, say last year, if we take that as an example, we made 841 separate awards. And every single one of those made a huge difference to an individual solicitor and their family. And we're there to provide that vital safety net in case of, bumps in the road of the type I've described, be they large or small or dramatic or not so dramatic. And we hope to be around for another 167 years.
We certainly do. We've got some big challenges to make sure that we are here for the next 170 years. I always think that people think, solicitors are, as you say, immune from the pressures, but solicitors are people. Any of us can be faced with unexpected challenges in life, and solicitors are no different from that. But just thinking at a sort of big picture level, you came in to help us with our strategy for 24 to 26 and have now moved over to fundraising and fundraising strategy. What do you see as some of the bigger issues in the legal sector, in the profession, that are affecting our work and the way that people might engage with us as a charity? And what's stopping people contacting us? I know, for instance, that we have many more female solicitors than male solicitors contacting us. What kind of things stop people engaging with us?
Yeah, and it's clearly a problem, isn't it? Just to go back to strategy and big picture, the long-term goal for us is to bring in new sources of income. And if I'm really honest, it's a tough nut to crack because, as you intimated, the legal sector has a lot of big change going on at the moment. We've started from a position of many people out there not knowing about the charity. And if they do, they think that we only offer money. In fact, as you and I know, we're offering a much wider range of emotional, professional, physical support through that network of expert partners. For therapy and careers coaching. So that's the first hurdle we've got to get over, the awareness and understanding one, and get across the breadth of the support that we offer to people. Across the age brackets, as you say, perhaps more women contacting us as well, working and non-working solicitors, and perhaps retired solicitors and their dependents as well. Secondly, people have also been used to finding us if they need support, but not funding us. And that is a big difference. They find us through our own promotional channels or a web search, through other charities like the Law Society or Law Care, or turn to us, which of course is what we're here for. It's why we promote in that way, and we welcome those inquiries. What the sector is probably not used to hearing is, as well as us being here offering vital support, we'd also like you to donate money to help fund it. And that's a message we'll have to repeat and build on over the next few years in order for it to resonate and create that new income stream direct from the sector. Of course, it goes without saying, it's a difficult trading environment for legal firms with many different regulatory changes afoot. The FCA proposed as the regulator for anti-money laundering, as well as, internal tax changes like national insurance that firms have to deal with and affect their sort of ability and propensity to give to a charity like ours. And again, they also perhaps have a local charity that they champion as part of their being part of a community. So lots of challenges for firms internally and from external factors. But I think we hope that the sector and the legal profession will start to see the benefit in playing a more active role in funding for the charity. And it's dedicated to being there for them. And ironically, having more change and challenge to deal with is all the more reason to have a well-funded occupational support charity in place, is it not?
That's right. And I'm very struck by that phrase, Anita. People are used to finding us, but not to funding us. And of course, we're hugely grateful for all the funding we have received over the years, whether that's through donations of RCBs or from those firms or law societies or individuals that have given to us. But the demand is increasing quickly, and we are now having to dig into our reserves to fund the activity we're doing. But of course, the question is, well, how can people be sure that what they're supporting is a charity that's having an impact? And in a future podcast with our vice chair, Eugene Farrell, I'll no doubt dig into this as well, because Eugene has a lot of experience of looking at impact measurement in the commercial world. But, you know, for the hundreds of awards we're making every year, the £1.25 million value of those awards, what are we getting out of that? What are individual solicitors who we help getting out of that? So perhaps we can just move on, and you could tell us a little bit more about another aspect of your role, which is impact and impact measurement, and just tell listeners and viewers what it is that we're doing.
Yeah, and you're quite right. How do we know if we're making a difference or not? It's one of those imponderables, isn't it? Like the meaning of life. Are we making a difference to people's lives with the support that we give? If I can just share with listeners and viewers a range of data and information that we've got at our disposal. So people very kindly write in with comments and testimonials and say, you know, what their experience has been with us. We get any adverse and positive feedback. I have to say mainly positive. And we can see the activity, the number of inquiries or requests for help that come through our doors. And of course, we also have the views from our expert case managers who've got that first hand experience with clients and dealing with them about what's working and what's not working. We work with a range of partners as well. So Renovo, the career coaches, Penny Smart, money management and debt advice, Sisters Advice in Manchester and now Cardiff and Vale for analysis and eligibility for benefits. And that range of data from partners gives us a lot of valuable information as well. We can see the demographics of people contacting us. You know, as you say, weighted towards females, what age they are, 60%. I think I'm right in saying under 60. And
more than that, Anita, it's 90% under 60 and about 40% under 40. So real shift to younger demographic over the last 3 years.
Younger demographic, absolutely. And lastly, we conduct an all-important annual survey of people who've contacted us for help over the previous year and beyond that. And this really does help us with first-hand data about whether, you know, they felt the support they've received from us has improved their lives. And we present this year in something called the Big Report, available on the website to download at any time. And it brings together data from that wide range of sources to paint a more comprehensive picture of the impact we're having. Just to illustrate the impact we're having in one area, let's look at mental health, for example. From the latest complete financial year, we know that inquiries for mental health referrals were up overall 3 times as many as the previous year. Once we the case managers discuss those needs with clients, we find around a quarter of those contacting us were able to secure an initial mental health assessment. And that was a figure that was up 178% year on year, which is absolutely staggering. And we know from that annual survey from people who've had that mental health support through therapeutic sessions that 8 in 10 said the mental health support they received had maintained or improved their emotional well-being, consequently enabled them to get on with their lives personally and professionally. Independent data provided by our mental health partners, we can see also from them that there are improved outcomes reported in terms of people feeling less anxious, less depressed, and more able to work and to socialise. So what do we conclude about our impact? From the data we've got, the information we look at is looking very positive indeed, particularly in the area of emotional well-being, and what we're offering is making a real difference to those we're helping.
And I think we're making great progress with this, but of course the really important thing is the outcomes for individuals, and this idea that we can map over time how we're doing. And I don't know if you just want to say a little bit more about how we're trying to measure that sort of and gather that longitudinal data, how we're checking in with people from time to time to see what they're telling us about how they feel their well-being is.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. Tracking individual well-being over time is a really important thing to do. If I can just take you back, if you think about what's involved with people contacting us, they're probably really nervous about that process, and they worry about asking for charity or what might be seen as a handout. And they also want to know we're a confidential, trusted organisation that's set up purely to help with their welfare and well-being discreetly, which of course we are. Asking them then endless questions about how they find dealing with us, how they would assess the service, blah, 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 asking personal questions are all a bit overkill and problematic and could be seen as intrusive. So we didn't want to go down that route, and therefore we make our follow-up deliberately lower key and brief for them. So it's taken us, a bit of time to find the right balance in that area between garnering data and not being intrusive. So we ask people a very simple question when they first contact us to assess their well-being on a scale. And then we ask them that simple question again on review of their case or when the case is closed. And that we're hoping that the difference in their well-being from start to finish, from lower to higher, let's hope, indicates that what we've been providing in the way of support has helped them. It's not definitive, of course. Other things may have helped in their lives, like the NHS, partners, family, friends, or a combination of. But as far as we can tell, we're hoping that recording those individual outcomes before and after contacting us will be indicative of their experience with us and hopefully all positive.
And of course, what we're trying to do is to help people move forward, help people become more independent, more self-sustaining. And that's why our case managers work with individual clients to work out what the sort of package of interventions might be that might work in their context. But of course, as we said earlier on, this comes at a cost, particularly as more people know about us and come to us for help. So I just want to return to the sort of funding side, fundraising side. And we have been starting some new initiatives, haven't we, this year? And I wondered if you could just tell us a little bit more about that and how people can perhaps support us.
Yeah, as you say, we've been, managing very well for a long time with the investments and income that we have. And as you know, it's many years since we were funded directly by the profession with subscriptions. Over time, it's the case that up until recently, with investments made from unclaimed client balances and a small number of donations, the work that we did could be adequately funded. And we've just been quietly getting on with things, therefore delivering that wider range of support services. I think what's changed is that we're now reliant on unclaimed client balances as our major income source. And with more demand from clients, with more complex problems to help with. And as we know, possibly at some point in the future, unclaimed client balances may be something that we can't count on receiving, depending on what changes go on in the sector. Should also point out that, along with the Law Society, we're one of the two major funders of Law Care, charity that provides support to everybody working in the sector with telephone, email and chat support. we're at the point, and I think we have to be honest here, that we are drawing down on reserves each year to meet the demands of running an ever more complex operation and this ever increasing client demand. So for the first time in a long time, we're going directly to the legal sector and asking for support by joining something called Firm Friends. We did some pre-research on this, and we found that a resounding 90% believe that law firms should support legal-related charities like the Solicitors Charity, which is very heartening. And 63% said that they would consider donating to the Solicitors Charity through a membership package like Firm Friends. So, well, we're now asking firms and suppliers to the legal sector to do just that. So Firm Friends is a corporate giving scheme. It encourages regular annual giving of amounts of £1,000, £3,000 or £7,500. And the win for us is that Firm Friends is a way for organisations in the legal sector to help keep our vital services running with solicitors, retired solicitors and their dependents in England and Wales. And the win for firms and suppliers is that they're recognised more visibly as champions of well-being, and they get access to more resources to help them practice this in their own organisations. You know, they're helping to fund vital, measurable support for friends and colleagues in need. And being co-partners with the charity like ours, they're able to stand tall with that association and adopt our badge to promote their support and values. All recognition of firms and suppliers joining us is integrated in our everyday work, from campaign acknowledgements to public recognition of them on our website and to listings in our annual report. So it's something that they can get in return. Every donation via Firm Friends will help deliver that vital, immediate and longer term support and signals a commitment to a healthier profession. So, we're at the beginning of this. If firms and suppliers join as founding members, they'll also be able to influence and shape what the scheme looks like in terms of events, roundtable discussions and research. And they'll be seen as pioneers of the Firm Friends initiative. We're in the process of recruiting at the time of recording, I should say. So it's open to organisations at the moment, but listeners will need to act quickly to be part of this movement for good in the sector.
Interesting and exciting times, Anita, and it is something that's new for us, not something we've had to do before. There's a fine balance to strike between digging into our reserves and making sure that we are sustainable in the medium to longer term. But this is a real opportunity for firms to help us, to help members of the profession. And we do hope that people will engage with it. So, as I say, exciting times. But Anita, it's been fantastic to talk to you today about the breadth of areas that you work in for the charity. But before we finish, I'm just going to say to listeners and viewers to remember our 4 R's. I say this at the end of every podcast. We have 4 R's, not 3 R's, in the Solicitors Charity. And the first of those is to reach out. If you're in need, come and talk to us. We're here to help. Remember our CBs. They are still the core of our funding model, and they're hugely valuable to us. But of course, you could also perhaps make a regular corporate donation through our Firm Friends programme. Register with us for regular updates. We promise we're not going to bombard you with emails, but we hope that the regular, occasional email that you get will be of interest. And then the fourth thing is, please do follow us on LinkedIn and react. The more that you react, the more your contacts will see of us, and the more people will know about us, and the awareness of the charity will increase. And that's what we need. We want people to know about us. But for now, that's the end of this month's podcast with the Legal Pause. Again, thanks to Anita, and I'll see you in the next podcast with our Vice Chair, Eugene Farrell.